It's day 6 of the month of October in the year 2025. Good morning. Welcome to the Morning News. This is the first bulletin of the day on TV3. This bulletin is coming to you live from the news hub here at Adesawi Kanda. We are live on Facebook. It's TV3 Ghana, and on DSTV it's channel 279. My name is Josh Quinney. Top of the stories is our. New Patriotic Party Ashanti Regional Chairman Bernard Entry-Boesiako, also known as Wontumi, expected in Accra over charges linked to Akonta Mining's alleged involvement in illegal small-scale mining. And Vice President Professor Nana Jino-Bokwadjiman warns teachers against abusing students whilst also condemning attacks against teachers. Also coming up this morning, Agbogbome fear of the Asogli State, Togwe the 14th, urges government to ensure former government officials who looted state assets are held accountable. Well, just so you know, you can get interactive with us. We're live on Facebook. It's TV3 Ghana. Hopefully, you read your comments and reservations to the rest of the world. Let's begin from the camp of the NPP. As the Ashanti Regional Chairman, Bernard Entry-Boesiako, has been asked to report to Accra today, Monday, October 6th, for his charges to be read to him following the alleged involvement of his Akonta mining firm in illegal mining. And the Attorney General, Dr. Dominic Ayeni, disclosed this on Friday, October 3, during President Mahama's engagement with civil society organizations on tackling the illegal mining menace.
In 2002, the police conducted very diligent investigations in respect of Akonta mining, but the docket was hidden until we came to power. In fact, when we came to power and I started the investigation with the the Lands and Natural Resources Minister and the Forestry Commission, we were finding it difficult to get information. Subsequently, the police themselves owned up and presented the docket to my office 2 months ago. So as we speak, the charges against Chairman Wontumi, Akonta Mining, and 5 others have been signed as I speak. Currently, we are waiting for him to be read his right to remain silent, etc. You know, before we've asked that he should be brought from, Kumasi. His lawyers asked that he should be brought on Tuesday, but I'm insisting that he should be here on Monday. If he doesn't come on Monday, I'm going to order for his arrest so that he'll be brought to Accra. His rights will be read to him, and then we can start the prosecution.
Well, the legal team is ready on standby to follow up on this very engagement at the court, and we'll surely finish with an update in the subsequent bulletins. And still on the issue of illegal mining, Catholic priest Friar Dr. Joseph Kwame Blaze says the church has failed in helping protect the environment. According to him, leadership is what is required to win the fight against galamsey. President Mahama on Friday met with civil society organizations to update them on his administration's fight against the illegal mining menace. But Friar Dr. Blaze believes timelines should have been given. Take a listen.
The Christian body has failed. When you read Laudato Si, Pope Francis said that Christians cannot be exempted from this devastation, destruction of the environment, because we have a God-given mandate to take care of the creation. So if Ghanaians have 70% Christians, then who are those who are destroying the environment? So we, the pastors, the evangelists, the teachers, and all those people, I think we could use our pupils to really educate our people. We are saying that it has even reached the point to spiritualize, to know that to sin against creation is to sin against God. So if somebody is destroying the water, there are lives there. It is equally murder. It is genocide. It's the ecocide. So you have offended God. You cannot go and collect such money and come and say, I'm sowing seed. But in most of the churches, we are interested in sow seed, thanksgiving. Where from that money to thanksgiving? So it's time that we have to moralize. We have to spiritualize and let people know that whatever they are doing, there is always a connection. The program, the outlines sound very, very good, but there are no timelines. So all these things that they have written, they're beautiful. In people say it's like tohu wabohu. Everything is just scattered beautiful. But what time? In 3 months' time, what are we to expect? In 6 months' time, what are we to expect? Meanwhile, the government is almost left with 3 years. So are we just waiting for the 3 years and then we know the last years we have to concentrate on the election campaign? So what are the timelines? One One thing that I didn't hear is that, we are not only killed by the excavators. Excavators, fine, the government has done very well. But one thing that is killing the Ghanaians are the chemicals, the mercury importation. Meanwhile, there's the UN Minamata Convention, which Ghana is a signatory. There was nothing. So how are we complying the Minamata Convention that talks about the limitation of mercury? And in all the documents, in all the presentation by the government and the sector minister, there was no mention of mercury and then the cyanide importation. The goodwill is there, but then where is also the political will, the vim, to really crack the whip?
And now the Agbogbomefia of the Asogli State, Togbi Apother, the 14th, has called on government to ensure the recovery of all looted state assets by former government officials. He was speaking during the climax of the 2025 Asogli State Yam Festival celebration in Ho in the Voto region.
Recently, we seem to have succeeded in making the beautiful name Ghana almost synonymous with the word corruption. And that is why I like oral, the Operation Recover All Loot. And I want to commend the government for it and to encourage the government to stay the course and to recover all that has been looted from the state's coffers. Of course, corruption is not limited to the public sector. It's been a very, very, very pervasive phenomenon across our country. And most entrepreneurs, private businessmen will tell you that their biggest challenge is that of corruption. Everything that we can do to end corruption in our system or to minimize it will all be steps in the right direction.
And away from the Voto region, the Vice President, Professor Nana Jinopokwa has lashed out at teachers who violate the right and abuse students. She said government will not hesitate to sanction teachers who abuse the trust given them and disgrace the teaching profession. The Vice President was speaking at the 2025 Ghana Teacher Prize Award in the Voto region in Ho.
Support and collaboration, I believe we can do even more. Our education sector still faces some infrastructural and human resource challenges. But even in the face of these, our teachers have continued to improvise what they have. And I want to salute all of you. We know that our teachers need support from all stakeholders. It takes a community to support teachers as they shape our leaders for the future. And this is why reports of indisciplined violence in our schools are worrisome. The Ministry of Education and the leadership of the education services will deal decisively with attacks on our teachers, especially physical assaults. In the same light, leadership cannot ignore those teachers and others in positions of power who abuse our young people. The recent events involving one of our teachers in a management position is a case in point. As teachers, we must always remember that we are placed in a position of trust, protection, and empathy. The power given to us is to facilitate learning. We will not wait to apply sanctions to those who violate this trust. And please, transfers are not punishment, so they should never be used to those who abuse our children, who betray their trust, and those who disgrace our profession. Government has also decided to revive PTAs to encourage broader participation in forming our young learners. The government greatly appreciates the level of collaboration between us and our teacher unions thus far, especially our recent frequent meetings and social dialogue.
Well, if you just tuned in, you're watching the Morning News, the first bulletin of the day on TV3. In more news this morning, the Minister of Education, Haruna Idrisu, has emphasized the importance of discipline and integrity in the country's educational system. Speaking at the 2025 Ghana Teacher Prize ceremony in Ho, he urged teachers and students to uphold these values, stating that the future of Ghana lies in the moral strength and professional commitment of its people.
That Cabinet has given policy approval for the revision of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. And as soon as Parliament convenes, we will get that out of the way. We are reviewing curricula. I see NACA here, so that integrity will become an essential part of our training. And then to our teachers, I appreciate your admonition to our teachers not to abuse and take advantage of learners. That is unacceptable, and that is punishable, and that will be punished. Director General GES, you are here, you heard his word. No teacher is above the law. And therefore, any teacher found operating below acceptable standards must face the ruthless and highest sanctions of your law. You have the state, the republic backing you as Director General to do so. But to our students, behave. Teachers and your parents are molding your behavior and molding character. The future is yours. The future of Ghana is yours. But be disciplined with hard work, with integrity, the future will remain yours. At least President John Dramani Mahama has given policy approval for the social mobility from Director 1 to Director 2, separation from rank and posts. And accordingly, the President have asked for a committee. You will be invited to appear before the Public Services Commission shortly. So the President is working the policy. I've seen a letter from the Office of the President that I directed to the Director General that the Public Services Commission, the Ghana Education Service, together with you, the unions, you sit and knit through.
Well, let's know what you make of the growing indiscipline among some teachers. We are active on Facebook. Engage us with your comment, opinions and reservations, and hopefully read them and share them to the rest of the world. Away from teacher misconduct, NIA begins issuance of Ghana cards to children aged 6 to 14. That's today, as 6th October 2025. And we'll be following up accordingly on this very exercise and update you in our subsequent bulletins. And we'll just move away from that in other news this morning. Also engage us. We're live on Facebook as TV3 Ghana. And we'll also be telling you what exactly the NIA wants to do regarding this very exercise. And now, residents of some island communities in the Adan East District say inadequate life jackets poses risk to them whilst crossing the Volta Lake. Last year, TV3 reported an inadequate number of life jackets for passengers, after which several were donated. But when Joseph Armstrong returned to the Adan riverbank at Pongpong, Panya, boat and canoe operators said they did not have enough life jackets to give out.
Wearing of life jackets here at the Adan riverbank has gone to sleep again. As you see, many more people arriving without wearing of the life jacket. We've reported on this in many times, and where I stand most of the time, once while here in the news, that there's a boat accident and the passengers on board are not in life jacket, leading to some casualties. Yet you could see them arriving again, and once again they are not in a life jacket.
Despite continuous education on safety, many residents living along and on island communities still underestimate the importance of wearing life jackets. Almost every boat arriving from island communities is seen packed with passengers, most without life jackets. Boat operators here say they have not received new life jackets in a long while, forcing passengers to cross without them.
I've heard that some time ago, like they brought some, but it's with the leaders in the office. So sometimes we have been seeing the life jacket with some of our friends, and if we ask them, they said they are buying it. Some they keep it in the house and they have been selling it to other people.
Others, however, claim there are enough life jackets, but some individuals at assembly are allegedly selling them.
People used to complain that they share life jacket to us and we are not wearing it. It's a lie. The one they give us is only 5. For instance, my boat take like 25 people. I can't use that 5 life jacket for 25 people. So they ask you to go and buy it ourselves. Before you buy it to someone who is in the house without operating boat, you get it from that person. And it is very, very expensive. You get one life jacket like 500 cedis, 450, 300 cedis. Hopefully, state authorities will pay more attention to the activities here at the Adan River Bank and ensure that boat riders insist on their passengers wearing life jackets.
Joseph Armstrong, Good, TV3, Adan.
And now let's go back to our earlier story. And then the NIA is pleased to announce that from today, it will commence the issuance of the collection of Ghana cards for Ghanaians aged 6 to 14 years who have already registered. The issuance will take place at the designated registration point, specifically the schools where the children were originally registered, beginning with 56 districts nationwide, with the remaining districts scheduled to follow in the coming days. To complete the process, each child or applicant must be physically present. Parents and legal guardians are required to accompany their children and present the Form A or receipt issued on the day of registration. So the list of the districts have been, spelled out. For instance, in Greater Accra region, there's a Shaman, there's Ga Central, there's Ga South, there's Ga West, and there's Koleklote. In the Volta region, there's Hohoi, there's Keta, there's Pando, and there's South Day. And in the northern region, there's Saboba, there's Zabzugu Tatale, and there's KJB, also in the OT region. And if you go to the Upper West region, there's Jirapa Municipal Assembly, Nadoli Kalio District. And if you go to the Central region, there's Ejumakwe Nyanesiam, Asin Central, Asin South, Efutu Municipal, and Gomwa West. So the NIA says with all the backlogs of unprinted Ghana cards now cleared, the NIA assures the public of its readiness to deliver a smooth and efficient exercise. Further details regarding the resumption of new registrations for Ghanaians aged 6 to 14 years at the district will be communicated to the public in due course. Just so you know, if you're a first timer in the acquisition of a Ghana card at any of the districts, you are not supposed to pay anything. But if it's for, premium service, that's when you're supposed to pay some 306 Ghana cedis. And so just be informed accordingly. And now, the United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, in partnership with the African Union Commission, AUC, and the government of Benin, has launched the first Foods Africa initiative. And this initiative is aimed at tackling child food poverty and malnutrition.
Approximately 181 million children under the age of 5 experience severe child food poverty, with about 57 million of them residing in sub-Saharan Africa. These children lack essential nutrients required for healthy growth and development, leading to persistent undernutrition, stunting, and wasting. The First Foods Africa initiative focuses on 3 strategic pillars: incentivizing local production, strengthening policy environments, and stimulating consumption. Emphasis was placed on the fact that nutrition is a right for every child, regardless of their geographic or economic background. The UNICEF Director of Nutrition, Joan Matjad, described the initiative as a transformative moment for Africa's children.
Children were missing a lot of nutrient-dense foods in their diets. Most of them were consuming breast milk, which is a wonderful development. But really, in terms of the variety, those who were consuming vitamin A-rich foods, fruits and vegetables, pulses and nuts was very low. And another interesting finding from the study was that severe child food poverty impacts children from the wealthiest families as much as from the poorest families.
The initiative will be implemented in 14 priority countries across West, Central, East, and Southern Africa, with strong partnerships with governments, African food companies, and global institutions.
While still on health, Acting Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Samuel Kaba Akoyira, says some 1,000 800 clinicians and health staff have been trained in the surveillance of the Mpox disease. Speaking at the sub-national launch of the Mpox vaccine at New Takrad in the Western region, he disclosed that 3 persons have so far died nationally from the disease.
I want to assure all of you, especially those families affected by the disease, that we don't intend to sleep, we will not rest, and we will actually not sleep until we contain the Mpox and our people are safe. That is the reason why we are here. Currently, the Ministry of Health and the Ghana Health Service have conducted the following. We have been able to train over 1,800 clinicians and other health staff in major public, quasi-government facilities and selected private sector facilities on Mpox and its surveillance. We have effectively tested samples at designated laboratories for Mpox and efficiently managed all the cases. And we shall keep our campaign of awareness and prevention across the entire country.
Well, before we part company, the Ghana AIDS Commission, in collaboration with UNAIDS and key partners, has successfully launched the National HIV Response Sustainability Roadmap Part A. The strategic document represents a bold shift towards a nationally owned HIV response, fully aligned with global best practices and integrated into Ghana's broader health and development agenda.
Key objectives of the roadmap is to strengthen country ownership, domestic resource mobilization, and health system strengthening. The Ghana AIDS Commission has been exploring sustainable financing options to support the national HIV response. The Commission is also leveraging private sector involvement in HIV financing to ensure long-term sustainability of care and support services. By launching the National HIV Response Sustainability Roadmap Part A, Ghana is taking significant steps towards achieving its HIV targets and ensuring a sustainable response to the epidemic.
The biggest challenge was what? Political will and the financing system. Once the political will is there, the financing system, there are various ways you can get around it. Now, a greater part of that is that the clinical care of HIV management is being integrated in the NHIA. Ghana AIDS Commission has had several meetings with the NHIA, and we are now working on the actuals of engaging that whole clinical aspect into the NHIA. Once that is done, then the other aspect is the chronic care aspect, the human rights, the prevention issue. Then we can do in a greater way.
The Minister for Gender, Children and Social Protection, Dr. Agnes Namomolati, said the roadmap is a clear signal that the government is taking full responsibility for financing and sustaining HIV programs.
We need to look at the issue of sustainability seriously, especially sustainable financing of our health sector, especially HIV/AIDS in Ghana. It's not just about us going out there, having the other sources of funding available to work on AIDS or HIV programs. It is about us looking within and then mobilizing nationally to ensure that whatever comes from outside will be an add-on.
According to UNAIDS, an estimated 354,000 people in Ghana are living with HIV with prevalence at 1.66%. More than 15,000 people were infected in 2024. New infections are highest among young women aged 15 to 24. A trend that underscores the need for stronger prevention and sustained government-led action.
Well, on that health note, we end the morning news. For more news updates, you'd want to log on to our website. It's 3news.com. Alternatively, you can join the team at 12 on News Central with Kemini and Marina Egbeta. Thanks for watching. In a world where you can be anything, just be kind. It costs nothing to be kind. Good morning.
Nothing can stop my
Dino Hamilton, award-winning, as well as another award-winning gospel musician, Celestine Donkor, right there. And I have to say that a good way to start the morning. Don't fade the sound, don't fade it. Just keep it up, keep it up, keep it up, and you look smashing. Lady Joy in the house.
Eddie Joy.
Great.
Thank
Eddie. What's the name?
Eddie Joy.
Eddie Joy.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Eddie Joy. Where did you say they are located?
Dansoman, La Road, East Legon.
Okay, great.
Yes. Yeah. And you can always find them.
Those Dadabi areas. Dansoman, that's former Dadabi area. Mm-hmm.
La Road,
former
yes.
Dadabi area.
Okay.
Then East Legon, Dadabi area.
So you can always find them, Eddie Joy _closet.
Fantastic.
On Instagram and other social media platforms. Yes.
Charlie.
Yes, but I hope you had a good weekend.
Look, it's been a very good weekend for many, as well as some challenging ones for others as well.
Yeah.
We know by the close of the weekend, we had the announcement by the Finance Ministry that they had added additional 400 Ghana cedis for the bag produced by cocoa farmers. So for each of their produce, they have additional 400 Ghana cedis apart from what was earlier on announced.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, I heard others as well. Was it Dennis Miracles Abuaji who said that you promised them 6,000? Yeah, and we know that Ato Forson had said that, I don't know whether it was a rally somewhere.
Yeah, I saw that
region,
video. Yes.
Before the elections, actually.
Yes.
That at the time the Akufo-Addo Bawumia-led government should have been paying them 6,000 Ghana cedis. So Dennis Miracles Abuaji says, Charlie, pay them 6,000 Ghana cedis. So that's what you said.
Yeah.
Stop complaining. And then in other spheres as well, he says the narrative about Galamsey, etc., should be that it's not as if it was exacerbated under the Akufo-Addo Bawumia government, but that all of us are equal.
The politicking of this issue is the
but I think it was a good thing the president held that encounter with civil society organizations. And at least he opened up the space for everybody else to talk.
I mean, it was interesting finding out how much they've done over the last 9 months. I think that was one of the areas that the government perhaps wanted to present, that we are not just sleeping, we're doing ABCD, and the team that has also been set up promising to be ruthless when it gets to those forest areas, and the fact that now excavators are going to be registered by DVLA, and so if you promised you're going to use it for quarry business and the excavators find themselves in mining areas, then you'll be held accountable for it. So let's see how they're able to deal with that. And well, the president did promise that it's not going to be a one-off encounter. It's going to be, it's going to continue. So hopefully we're able to find an end to this menace, really.
Well, certainly. Well, hopefully we'll get an end in sight to this. For me, I think it's purely because duty bearers, whether the government of the day, the Minerals Commission, as well as the other parastatals or security agencies have failed to do their work.
That's exactly what it is.
You're supposed to mine sustainably.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
There are some who have licenses for concessions and are mining illegally.
And you know, as this thing is happening,
they are even more problematic.
Yeah, last week, you know, some people died. I think about 3 or so people died.
Oh, in a pit?
In a pit.
Oh, those ones have been happening all the time.
Whilst they try to rescue the rest, but, well, people are unfazed.
Amen. Amen. For all the things we have to talk about, we have this morning segment. And yesterday was World Teachers' Day. Remarkably, one of the best times to be able to celebrate who our teachers are. And we tend to have some lecturers who tend to come into the studio. One of them will be in the studio today. But, you know, we cannot be where we are today in this world if we don't have teachers, whether they are tech geeks or all the inventors we have, etc. They were taught by somebody.
Yeah.
You know? And certainly, World Teachers Day just gives us the memory as well as the realization that teachers are very important.
Indeed.
In our country, though, most of them just don't get well remunerated or well paid, like us journalists as well. We're not well paid. But that said, they also get to sacrifice in some of the most deplorable areas and teach in some of the most deplorable conditions.
Yeah.
And I think that's what sets them apart from many others, including the nurses, etc. They all just don't operate in good conditions.
It's really my desire that moving forward, really, we'll be able to provide them incentives going to these areas. I think it's something that they've mentioned or talked about over and again, like you did mention, the nurses. We should be able to deal with that problem.
Well, certainly. As much as I'll say it's not a crime to be a journalist, it's also not a crime to be a teacher or a nurse, etc. And so for World Teachers Day, for our conversation this morning, on This Morning segment, we're asking you the question, what do you make of the condition, whether it's, well, their livelihoods, the way they are paid, the environment they work in, etc., of teachers? Do you think Ghana as a country, we are rewarding our teachers enough? And then you can add who perhaps has been your most memorable teacher, or the best memory you can have of a teacher in your life. That would be good as well. And then we'll have some big issues this morning. We want to assess the John Mahama Nana Genopoku government, their economic management so far. Atuforsen seems to be doing some good work. We've had depreciation of the cedi from 10 to about 12, 13 now. So what do you make of it? But inflation just announced the last week is now in the single digits, just under 10. And so it means that the percentage rate at which prices are increasing seem to be very low. So that's a good thing as well. And so we'll talk about that. We'll talk about the cocoa prices as well. So we'll have some great people in the studio.
Yeah. You know what I love about this year's theme for the World Teachers Day that we are throwing to our viewers this morning, recasting teaching as a collaborative profession. And the fact that since last week we've been talking about the sexual harassment of girls or children in our schools, and the other people talking about, I don't know how you said that, other people talking about the fact that we shouldn't leave children to teachers alone. Parents and the society must also take responsibility. So I love that bit about collaborative, theme regarding this year's Teachers' Day. And hopefully we're able to bring in the policies that we need to ensure that as teachers are playing their role, the parents and society as well, we are upping our game in ensuring that we are forming the kind of children we need for our future.
Well, certainly. In other countries, they are teaching children good AI skills, etc., how to trade with stocks, currency, cryptocurrency and forex and all that. When you go on TikTok, children are learning routine dances to songs. So if you're not a good dancer, they said that's the talent.
I saw one video like that.
I think it's very wrong, but that's my opinion as a parent. So what do you make? What's your most memorable story about your teacher, if you can name that teacher as well? And then you also have to tell her, do you think that Ghana, we are rewarding our teachers based on the environment in which they teach, etc.? But we have cash out, don't we?
Yes, we do. Remember, it's always *439#, 1K to every person. So we're giving out 10,000 Ghana cedis, right?
Yes,
to 10 people. Yes, so every person has 1,000. And if you've been watching us, the last time, Roland gave you this formula. You have to vote about, is it 30 times? You have to stick about 30 times.
For the number of tickets, 30 plus.
Yes, stick about 30 plus times so that your number can appear easily, and it's an easy win. I mean, undisputed. You're able to step out and get your 1,000 Ghana cedis. So remember, *439#. Follow the prompt and pick your favorite platform. And of course, your favorite platform is right here on TV3. You can see on your screens, that's number 2. So it's the beginning of the week. You don't want to take advantage of getting 1,000 cedis for free. So just stake more and get your 1,000 Ghana cedis.
Well, okay, so that said, we have to bring you this morning's segment. Let's say good morning to you, Chairman Godwin Tamaklo, the RATE Group Chief Executive Chairman Prosper as well, Dr. Salih for Combat, and to everyone else. It's been a while. I've heard from Randa Shao, James as well, and the rest of the family. Dr. Juliet Yayera Tenge with the Ghana Military Academy, as well as all the hosts of others, including Justice Senyo Jamasi and Jamafa and the rest of all the good people who tend to give us good feedback. But this morning's segment about teachers up next. So teachers, we've had some of the most memorable people who have taught us as well. And so you have some memorable people who have taught you?
Yeah, I was just casting my mind back. I think when I was in primary 1, I still remember very well. I had this teacher who was called Mary. She was so good to me. And she was such a good teacher. Well, that's what I remember. And then when I was in junior high school, I confess that my teachers realized I didn't speak Ga. So the Ga teacher was so interested in teaching me Ga, so she would just go the extra mile, really, in giving me books and explaining. She would make me read. I would read all right, but I still didn't understand.
Yeah.
So
my Ga teacher at GSS, that's Ashama number 4 junior secondary school at the time, was Mr. Lassie, and I always thank him. But you know, back in the day, if you lived in Ashama, you always spoke Ga, because there are a lot of Ga people around. It's not these days where we have a potpourri of a lot of people. But Mr. Lassie, good morning, as well as Mr. Darkon, Mr. Mensah, and Mr. Copperfield. David Copperfield, and look,
and I remember my literature
and then
teacher.
Mr. Chu was a headmaster at the time.
Okay,
I always love the primary GSS teachers, because they become the foundational people who tend to impact.
But I had some good teachers as well at the senior high school. Miss Kwanzaa, literature. She was such a tough. She was such a tough woman. I mean, core literature. It was part of English. Yes.
Not my school year. I'm not your generation.
Okay, let's go to.
I'm outside your generation. Sorry.
Let's go to Francis.
Literature.
Yes.
Never heard before.
Okay. Good morning to you, Francis.
It was always an elective.
Okay. Yeah. Hi, Francis. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us on this segment on New Day. Thank you for calling us.
Okay. So this one is calling from Kaswa. Actually, I'm a teacher by profession.
Okay.
Hello.
Yes, please.
Yeah,
tell us your own experience. Yes.
Yes. The most, I don't know how to call it. The only work that you do in Ghana that even on your pension, you go begging, and nobody knows about it, is teaching job. It's a job that if you get it, it's one of the most dangerous jobs doing in Ghana. Elsewhere is good. I'm a teacher by profession myself. I completed training quality in got posted. But at the point, I just have to walk out of the classroom and be doing this delivery with motorbike before I was able to, for me to be able to survive. If you are from a very poor background, teaching is not the work you should do. It's good for people who are from a rich home that they don't actually have problem. There are things that support them financially. Then you can do that work and then as a charity job. But if that's what you and your family depends on, your brothers will look up to you and all that, then you cannot even survive. My headmaster went to pension with 6,000 Ghana cedis with no child because they fear that things will be better, things will be better, things will be better. And I just take a clear out of it. So the teaching job, there are a lot of teachers who want to stop this job, but they don't have the courage.
But wait, did you say that a mentor of yours did not give birth because
my first headmaster was teach over 30 years, went to pension, and you are giving 6,000 Ghana cedis by its need.
Yeah, I do understand that part. I'm
talking to you now. His first child is just completed GHS, a man on a pension.
Why? But that's a personal decision he has to make to give birth early or late, right?
See, Mr. Roland, the work is bad. The work they give us is very bad, especially we those who were teaching the hinterlands. I use all my salary in buying petrol and feeding the children. So at the point I have to walk out of the classroom. And government doesn't care. They don't care about you. So those are what they organize and give. Look at the schools that were they were people who were getting the award. How many of them were coming from the Pasar, the Enclave, those areas, the Northern Belt, those villages? How many teachers? Those in the cocoa farms. Who sees them? They put you there, they dump you. Nobody cares about you. Then they will come and pick people from around the neighborhood and award them. That they are encouraging you. It's a scam.
I know you're talking about the difficulties, but in the midst of that, is there anything that you're proud of as a teacher?
Mr. Roland, and then Madam Judith also, never allow
Madam
any of your children or relatives you can help them to do something better to go into teaching field. It's the worst job you can ever do in this country. I'm talking to you as a teacher. As I'm talking, I master courage and work out. And I was doing I use motor to do delivery.
Well,
thank you.
I had some few accidents, and as I'm talking to you now, I'm really looking for car work and pay to move from the motorbike to car because of the risk involved, even though I've schooled.
Thank you so much, Francis.
Let's call a spade a spade. It's a very bad job to be in Ghana.
Right.
Especially if you are from a poor home.
Right.
Thank you so much, Francis, calling us from Kaswa for sharing your views.
Thank you,
with
Francis.
us. Yes.
And this is shared by many other related people.
Yeah.
So I have this one coming from Oseyeji from Kide, who says that I've been a teacher for 26 years, and I can tell you that I am now trying to put up a one-bedroom house, and even then, I'm just at the foundation level. Since I started this structure 5 years ago, I haven't been able to make ends meet. I try to talk to my other colleagues in the bigger cities. They tell me they do extra classes, but these days, nobody even does extra classes anymore. Many of our colleagues who are in the private schools even earn better than some of us in terms of the incentives, among many others. Teachers just really are not cared for by this country. It's sad being a teacher, he said.
Yes. Let's go to, yes, we have another caller on the line. Good morning to you, sir. Thank you so much for...
This teaching job, you can see the way everybody is lamenting with it.
Yes, sir. Please tell us your name. We can already hear you and where you're calling us from.
My name is Foster Edem, calling from Akachi, Volta region.
Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
Yes. I can say this teaching job itself, yourself, you can see the way everybody is complaining about it. That tells you that, yeah, there's nothing in it. There's nothing in it. So whenever you phone in to talk about this teaching jobs, you will see everybody complaining bitterly, meaning that thing is not good. It's not helping. If you are a teacher, there is no motivation for you to be proud of the job and so on. So I think one caller said that the government doesn't care. It's true. It's true. Let's look at this. And in fact, the teaching job itself, some of us are tired. If we see some of our seniors, the way they are retiring and so on, it's very bad. A whole director retired without building a house and so on. He has to retire before fighting for cement and so on. They should do something. Other workers, if you see their payslip, it's very rich with allowances. Teachers, how many allowances do we have on our payslip? We can't be proud of anything. No.
Wow. Thank you very much for calling us from our Kache in the Volta region. Roland, you were reading some messages to us earlier.
Well, I have a couple of messages. This one is coming from Randa Shao. Good morning to you. And says that, look, the livelihood of our teachers is very bad in this country. They barely own properties for themselves and even live or even live a better life. My primary school group always have to make contributions for our old teachers. Their situations are mostly bad at the end of their service, period. Okay. And this one is coming from Delight Mojaka, who says that, look, I want to pay a special homage to Mr. Bennett Yao Agbamabia. He has been my best teacher. He taught me in class 6, but he hasn't stopped teaching us. Even while we're old, he will call us every week to check up on myself, especially, and all my friends whom he taught. He's now currently in Sogakope, Komboni. And Mr. Bennett Yao Agbamabia said, that's from Delight Mojaka, your former pupil or student. This one, let me say good morning to a friend of mine who himself is a teacher. That's Nyasa, and that's Xavier Nyanyovo. Wishing you all the best for the day. He says that teaching is a profession which creates all the other professions. And I'm a proud teacher. But our state should be improved. Without us, the backbone of the country is just not right. There are teachers who become MPs, politicians, thinking that they will advocate for better emolument and better conditions of service and teaching environment for their former colleagues. But they join the political fray, do all the talk, and when they are in office, do nothing regarding the policy. That's a good morning to you.
Yes, we have another caller calling us. Hello, good morning to you, sir. Tell us where you're calling us from and your name.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm Saeed from the Northern region.
Yes, sir. Saeed, please go ahead. From the Northern region. I hope you're well. Tell us what's on your mind today.
Yeah, I am a associate teacher. And I think what my colleagues are saying is partly true, but I don't agree to all what that they are saying. The thing is, the salary is not that good, but then it's not only teachers who are facing this problem. Our colleagues from the other sector talk of the nurses, and then those are the higher ranks. It's only those who work at some other sectors that enjoy more benefits, like more allowances, that can say their job is somehow better. But anyone who is just working at the public sector and then is just at the classroom or the nurses or police, military, all of them, they are suffering. The thing is just that most of them have time to do other jobs. You can't survive on salary. That's one thing I always tell myself. If you are taking salary alone, you cannot survive for it. So it's not only teachers. When people make you look at this teaching is so bad that, like, when you are doing it, you can't even save 1 Ghana cedi. I bet just find something doing, and no one survives alone on this salary. That's what I always have. And I respect my teaching so much, and then I find ways to do other things to make money. But surviving on teaching alone, to take care of family, and then other things. You will not survive. Just forget it. And it's not only teaching. You can be a nurse, you can be a police officer, military, everything. You will not survive. You can ask yourself, you those who are there, I know you are taking somehow better salaries, but you also, you are not comfortable with it. And if you get better jobs, you leave it and go. Or am I lying? Yeah, so that's it.
Everybody
So
wants a better life, so that's understood.
So that's what I will say. Find something to you and do your teaching. Thank you so much.
What's your name?
Said.
Said.
Yes.
Said, thank you
Yes, yes.
for being a ray of hope, because everything sounded so gloomy.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Well,
And I love the fact that, of all the callers, he said that he's very proud of what he's doing.
yeah,
He's just finding other ways.
You know,
of
it's all about
surviving.
being optimistic in life, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see how it goes. Good morning to Chairman Riches William Kokoti. Wishing you all the best for the day. And, let me read this one from Sherry Giovanni. Sherry Giovanni is a teacher. Sammy, good morning to you. He says, we say all professionals can boast, but a teacher taught them all. Welfare of teachers. So he captions it. As a professionally trained teacher myself, I want to acknowledge some incredible teachers in my life. Anthony Achu Hajide, father of Pius Hajide. He was our
NIA
headmaster at the former deputy information minister as well as
yes.
National. That's Pius.
Yes.
Pius.
Yes.
And then he was our headmaster at the basic school in my father's house basic school complex, Abo. And then also Miss Agbuja Margaret, Miss Miriam Oga, and Isaac Indomie. God bless all of them. That's Sherry Giovanni. I've loved this message from Sherry Giovanni as well. And then, okay, we have somebody.
Yes, we have Mawina joining us. Good morning to you, Mawina. Thank you so much
Good
for joining
morning.
us. Tell us where you're calling us from and what you've got to tell us.
Okay, Madam, I'm calling from Uchi region.
Yes, sir.
And God bless you for the good work you are doing for us. And a very good morning to Mr. Roland for the good work he's also doing for us. Madam, what I have to say on the teaching aspect is, teaching work is a good work in Ghana, but looking at what is happening nowadays, nobody is there to speak for the teachers. And what we are passing through, in fact, is not easy. Someone just came from we did the diploma, they also did degree. They came and they bypassed those people who were on the soil for longer time, just in the name of degree. And in fact, it is worrying. The salary we are taking is meager. Looking at the family, before you take off this one, give this one to the family, the salary is gone. So the government should do something for us. We are pleading. Other than that, the heart we have for teaching the kids, the heart will not be there. So when they serve us better, at least we also do them good thing. That's why we are doing our best, but they should also help us to do more than we are doing. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for calling us from the OT region this morning and for sharing your views with us. Roland?
Well, so we have a couple of messages, and this one is coming from, so this one is coming from Mejina. Mejina Kwesi has this message for us, and Mejina hasn't been able to get through this morning, and so has sent us this message. So I'll read it. It's quite long, Mejina. I'm not too sure I can read everything, but I'll try. I want to share my thoughts on how teachers in Ghana, especially those working in rural areas, are being treated. Honestly, teachers in rural communities are not well taken care of. Many of them live and work under very difficult conditions. Some no electricity, no clean water, poor accommodation, and in some cases, no proper classrooms or teaching materials. Yet, these are the people helping to educate our children as a country in the most deprived parts of Ghana. And then this one is coming from lawyer Sergio Leonard, who is my friend. Good morning to you and your wife, Jifa, as well. He graduated from a training college. So he said, I graduated from a teacher training college 25 years ago. I'm proud to have trained and worked as a teacher. However, the plight of the teacher is not good. I won't say more. He's a legal practitioner now, but initially. And Charles, how are you? It's been a while. And so I have I think as a country, we need to be serious. I share the pains of these teachers. As a nation, we don't treat them well at all. When you look at their salaries and allowances, you will cry for them. A teacher will have to school for all these years for him to receive just little money as salary, and it's not the best. My best regards to all teachers.
Yes, let's speak to Irene Sam. She is Deputy Public Relations Officer at the National Council of Parent Teacher Association. Good morning to you, ma'am. Thank you so much for joining us. Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Let me first get your thought, from where you sit, your thought on World Teachers Day and really what this means for your association, for instance.
Thank you. A good morning to your sharing listeners. And then I'm also grateful for having me here this morning. I also bring you greetings from our national president, to all our gallant teachers. And today we also join forces with the world to wish all our teachers a happy Teachers' Day. We understand and appreciate their contributions as far as education delivery is concerned, and also talking about character formation development of our children all over. So we appreciate the work that they have done for us so far. And as a council over the years, we have collaborated well with our teachers. So they are the key in the PTA that we have. We see them as key stakeholders in education, and we see them as collaborators. Making sure that they do their work very well. So we appreciate them so much for the work so far. And then we are also in here as collaborators, as partners, to help them achieve their goals. But over the years, having collaborated with them, having appreciated their work so far, we also see their challenges that they have gone through over these years, particularly talking about the classroom space, whereby they don't have enough resources to teach, and also looking at the large numbers in the various classes they have to manage, looking at their living conditions, particularly accommodation, has been an issue for all teachers all over. Where to lay down their heads has become so challenging, particularly for house staff who are needed on the compound 24/7 to make sure that our wards are safe all over. You know, most of them don't even have a place to lay down their head. They have to live outside the school premises. It becomes a challenge to them. When they have to send somebody to the hospital, it's so a challenge. So in talking about their living conditions, accommodation plays a very, very major role in it. And apart from that, look at their salary levels also, allowances and everything. Their healthcare needs is also a challenge to many of the teachers that we have worked with all over these years. So today, we are all saying that there is a need for us to look at the work of the teacher. You know, most people, we all have this, adage that all professionals can boast, but the teacher taught them all. It is true. And then we also know that in times past, we used to say that teachers' reward is in heaven. Right now, it is right there here on earth. And even we as a council, we have also tried to, put out some staff bungalows for our house staff just to contribute to this kind of, accommodation deficit that they are encountering. So all over, we have a lot of issues that we need to come to terms and also help them come out of them.
Your submission tells me that your association is collaborating well indeed with teachers. Recently, we've had to talk about the unfortunate side of it, where a number of teachers have been reported to have allegedly abused children sexually. You're with an association of parents as well. How have those reports shaped your perception about the kind of collaboration that you're supposed to be having with the teachers?
Well, it has really dent or marred that relationship that we have with our teachers, because in my earlier submissions, apart from they being teachers in the various schools, we also see them as parents to our wards in the various schools, because we as parents don't teach them. Therefore, as teachers, we expect a lot from them. They are to act as role models for our wards to emulate. Therefore, if their actions do not represent a good model, then it means that they are failing our wards indirectly. Therefore, we are not so happy about the trend of events whereby some of the teachers are involved in this kind of indisciplined actions. Therefore, we are all calling for the teachers to also know their role that they need to play. They also go by a code of conduct as how they have to behave in the school and the environment. Therefore, if you see the children as your wards, as your students, or as your own children, will you do this to them? You have to serve as role models unto them. So that is where we are looking at, and we are not so happy about how things have turned out these days.
When this happened, there were a number of people who were also saying that perhaps we're seeing this because parents have neglected their responsibilities as well. How do you react to that?
Well, it is true. Some way, somehow, we as parents have also neglected our role. Charity, they say, begins at home. And we parents have the first responsibility to bring up our children in the way they have to go, in terms of discipline, training them, teaching them what they need to know, and being in their lives as children. So we as parents, some way, somehow, we have also, let our guards down in terms of good parenting, in terms of appreciating who our children are and being in their life. Some of the parents don't even know the program that their wards are offering. Don't know even whatever their teachers, who their teachers are. They don't know anything about their wards. They only take them to school the first day. That's the end of it. When you call for meetings, they are not there. Some of them are absent in the lives of the children. Don't know when the children report to school, when they go back. What women do they have to even go through? All these things, over the years have come down. There is a decline in good parenting as far as our wards are concerned. So yes, it is true that some of us parents have also relented on our responsibilities, and that has also contributed to this that we are seeing these days.
And perhaps my last question to you, in your earlier submission, you talked about collaborating with the teachers and how you've done that well over the years. This year's theme is recasting teaching as a collaborative profession. How do you intend to harness this in dealing with this problem and also ensuring that you get the best for your children out of schools?
So in doing that, we are fostering that relationship once more. We want to make it bigger, want to enhance it by making sure that we take part in decisions as far as the school environment is concerned, talking about monitoring of our wards, and also taking part in the academic life, making sure that we really know whatever is going on with them. And as a council, we are also taking some decisions as to look at discipline in the various schools that we are having these days. So all these things are projects that we have made, which very soon we put in the public limelight for all of us to appreciate where we are coming from. So this year, whatever it is that they have as they are seeing, we are in there to collaborate with them over these years and make sure that education delivery is really enhanced. And then regarding the teachers, looking at their living conditions and their welfare issues are all taken into consideration. So our doors are always open for that collaboration to be enhanced as we move forward throughout this year.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, ma'am, this morning.
Welcome.
And you heard that Irene Sam, she is the Deputy National Council, PRO of the National Council of Parent Teacher Association. Quite frank opinion that she gave us.
No, certainly.
Yes.
Well, I wish we could call Thomas Musa as well, who is the General Secretary for the Ghana National Association of Teachers. But more importantly, I have a couple of messages as well, just a remembrance of World Teachers Day. And this one is coming from Nathaniel Akoli. Good morning to you. Says that you talk of my favorite teachers growing up, and mine would always be Miss Bensa Bonsu, my primary 3 teacher at Chiringa Primary. It's Abema Camp down the base workshop area. She was such a lovely woman, and so just again an acknowledgement. My own classmate, Patawa, good morning to you. So Mr. Mensa and Mr. Chu are all past, dead and gone. Yes, I know that, but just also acknowledge Mr. Klokpa as well, all of them. Now, so we have a couple more, and Emmanuel Okwesiakwa from Takwa says, my greetings to my nursery to JSS teachers. Okay, GSS means that when you kakra, which includes Miss Arta, Miss Agi, Miss Dorcas. I don't know why.
What is Agi?
Miss Agi Agnes.
Oh, okay.
Okay, yeah, Agnes. And Miss Dorcas. So Teacher Moses, Master Sam, Sir Charles, and Madam Rose Hasford, Madam Esther Ghani, and all of them. And then also, you say Brenu Achenimva Elmina in Comenda Edna Eguafo Abrim district in the central region as well. And so your pay homage to them. Chief Mantei Nakosombo says, God bless all teachers. Without the teacher, who is the president? Without the teacher, who is the president? The doctor, the engineer, the pastor, the lawyer, and the media practitioner. Teachers need to be paid more than any other professionals, but we have to move on, right?
Yes, we have Potofi on the line, who is with the Ghana Meteorological Agency. Good morning to you, sir. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning, and thank you for having me.
From, I think, yesterday afternoon, we started seeing some showers, and in some areas, it rained through the night, even up until this morning. Just tell us what your overview is and what we should be expecting in the day.
Very well, thank you very much. And I think for the coastal and the middle belt of the country, we are in our minor rainy season. So we should be expecting more of this after the first week in November. That will get out of the hood. So the coastal, the forested areas like Kofodria, Odumase, Konongo, Yonki, and Itevarons, Sunyani, and Co should brace themselves for some showers in the late afternoon. And then for the coastal areas, since we had a lot of rain yesterday from all the way from Aplau, passing through Ho, coming down to Accra here, there will be sunshine, enough sunshine, and after the sunshine, by 2-3 days, we should also expect some rain over our areas. So people should not panic because it is usual because we are in a minor rainy season. For the northern sector, yes, they also. Yeah.
Okay, minor rainy season, you say. Your line is not stable, but what you're essentially saying is that aside from our umbrellas, everything is okay. We shouldn't be bothered about what's going on.
Very well, very well.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Potofi, Joseph Tete Potofi, for joining us. No cause for alarm because we are in a minor rainy season, and Mr. Tete Potofi is with the Ghana Meteorological Agency. Roland.
Okay, so I have this one from Engineer Edeko. Good morning to you, Engineer. Says that Engineer JP. Okay, so he says, good morning to all of you. A country that doesn't treat teachers well will not develop. A good salary for teachers will attract the most brilliant students into the teaching field. When the most brilliant become teachers, you can imagine the multiplying effect on national development, and then I dare add the churning out of talent, etc. And continuously, you say, a country like Singapore doesn't have mineral resources, just has the best brains. And they use those brains, being taught by good, brainy teachers, to develop their country to be one of the most developed and richest countries in the world.
I agree with that
Engineer
comment.
Edeko.
Because when you're in your best self, you're able to bring out the best. And we see a lot of innovation in her schools. You know, I was watching a video and the teacher was teaching some children about what assets and liabilities are. And those were children under 10. And I was like, that's so amazing. How many adults know which is assets and which is a liability so that they're able to plan their finances very well? Anyway. Is there any more message? No,
that'll be it. Let me say good morning to lawyer Emmanuel Paddy. Wish you all the best for the day. But in the meantime, we have to go for a break. We have cash out. It goes with the short code *439#. make sure as many times as you can, you increase the number of tickets you have, increase that 40 plus times, become lucky as always. And for you to be able to do that, the short code is yours. Choose option 2 and you'll be lucky. 1,000 Ghana cedis going to 10 lucky winners today.
You moved it from 30 plus to 40 plus.
Yeah, to even 45.
Okay.
We're taking a break. We'll right. But when we come back, we have big issues right here. DSL, you can find DSL on YouTube. And talking about YouTube, we're always available also, not only there, but across social media. So go search for us, TV3 Ghana, and let us know what you think. Let me say good morning to a couple of you who really seem to be doing some great time. As a beautiful, intelligent, great friend of mine whose son is celebrating the birthday today, Frida Kujo. Your son is called Akila. Akila, okay. Akila Ediji Ayitome, and it's from your mom. Frida Kujo says that happy birthday to you. And we want to acknowledge all the good things that God wants to bestow on you, and may you live to fulfill your destiny. We have cash out. It goes with the short code *439# as always. Try as many times as you can to become one of those lucky winners, and increase the number of tickets you have. All right. Choose option 2. Increase the number of tickets you have. Let me say good morning to Abigail Daku, the Ghana National Association of Teachers, the Gumari District. I know that you're going for a national position in January. Wishing you all the best for the day. And then *439#. Choose option 2. I want to keep drumming home what it has to be. Choose option 2. Increase the number of tickets you have, please. Become one of those lucky winners as always. We have a lot of you who will be joining us. And so we're grateful. For those who have joined us, let me also say that, well, we have a couple of you who have joined us across the world. But more importantly, you have joined us across our social media handles as well. So we're grateful. And, well, Zilis Dwayne is joining us from the United Kingdom. Zilis Dwayne, his team is Liverpool. They lost to Chelsea 2-1. So my commiserations to you, Zilis Dwayne, for the loss of Liverpool. There's been 3 losses in a row. And Chelsea was the last team over the weekend to beat Zilis Dwayne, who lives in the UK's team, Liverpool. I have another Liverpoolian in the studio. I'll come to him very soon. Okay. And then Nguvu Mining CEO also won an award, the Global Power Women Award. And so we say congratulations to you as well. But I guess for the morning, I have Lawyer Apia Dankwa, who is here in the studio with me. Good morning to you, Lawyer Apia Dankwa. How are you?
Yeah, good morning. I'm doing great yourself.
Oh, great. I'm well. Legal practitioner. So they are on legal vacation.
No, we've resumed.
Or they have resumed, we're told. And so I'll also be joined by a couple more. But currently on the stream, I've been joined by Dr. Samuel Efriye, or is it Professor now? Dr. Samuel Efriye.
Yes, Roland.
I want to make sure that G-Tech doesn't come harassing you.
Oh, yes. Not yet.
Not yet.
You'll be the first person to know, so don't worry.
Fantastic. Congratulations. Congratulations in advance, as I'll be the first person.
Yes.
And so, Dr. Samuel Efriye is joining us from Kumasi, and if you monitor many of the media stations in Kumasi, he's a regular commentator, and he's an economic and political analyst. So we'll be here. We're assessing so far the economic management abilities of the John Mahama, Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman government. We'll be doing that. And, well, I have Elikem Kotoko, who is a deputy chief executive for the Forestry Commission. Was throwing salvos, was he over the weekend or last week as well? He's a good friend of Chemawun to me. Good morning to you. How are you?
I'm doing very fine, and I'm not a good friend of Chemawun to me at all.
Okay. I thought I was on TikTok. I saw you said that you had been chatting on phone, so I thought maybe I didn't hear the conversation well. So Prince Nania York has gone back to the UK. Sorry I couldn't meet you when you came. The times were just the shadows were just not very good. But Prince Nania York is a great friend of mine. Thank you for everything, Prince Daniel York. Samuel Kante has also joined us. Please share the stream. The second part, we'll be talking about the cocoa prices as well. And I would entreat our online managers to block Albert Kwanzaa. They are giving us spam messages. So block the name Albert Kwanzaa. Samuel Dodu sending us spam messages on our stream. So Albert Kwanzaa is a name there. Block that name, Albert Kwanzaa. Block Samuel Dodu. They are sending spam messages on our stream. We dislike that, please. So Albert Kwanzaa, Samuel Dodu, go search for them, block them. TV3 Ghana. Go make sure you do that. Prince Daniel and the rest. Please share the stream. Let's have some great conversations. But so far, just last week, we were told that we now have, as a country, our rate of inflation, percentage rate of inflation, just in excess of a little over 9%. So we're still under. We've entered into a single-digit inflationary trend, so to speak. But of course, the CD has inched up a bit from the 10 under 11, Ghana CD to $1. We're now inching close to 13. So we should be worried, or should not we be worried about that? So we'll be taking a look at that. And Dr. Tutu Boahin has joined us. Dr. Tutu Boahin, good morning to you as well. Great man. And he's also a researcher. For many of you who don't know, we'll tell you about his political research outcomes sometime when we have the time. But we're here to talk about the economy and all that. Good morning.
Good morning, Papa Ro.
Great to have you once again. Please share the stream. I've seen Abugebela Razak Idrisu. Please share the stream. Let's have Royal Majesty. I've seen you as well. Please share the stream. Let's have some great conversations this morning. Let's see what's going to be. Sorry. I've been now recovering from a cold. Yao Febri, I've seen you as well. Senor, I've seen you. Evans Asamoah. And then Derek Damien. I see you as well. Now, Fita Kimani Nimani and the rest of you as well. But Professor Samuel Friye. Sorry. Doctor.
Yes.
Dr. Samuel Friye. Please.
Yes.
My apologies. I withdraw the professorship title I just gave you. Please.
Yes,
my apologies.
For security reasons.
GTech is always watching. We don't want trouble.
Exactly.
Now, if you have to describe, just in a sentence, how the government has managed the economy since January 7th, they were inaugurated into office, what will be your sentence description, so to speak, before you go into a thorough assessment, so to speak?
Okay. Thank you very much. And also greetings to Dr. Tutu and our co-panelists, also to your viewers. What I would say is that the economy has been recovered from the intensive ward, and now we are in the stage that the economy is recovered. So that is how I'll describe the economy, because all the indicators that we use to determine the economic performance, I think the 9 months is showing some improvement, and I think the government of the day should be credited for the performance of the economy. So here we talk about data, and data shows that, since we will come to more details about it in terms of exchange rate, we can talk about inflation, then we delve much into it. But I think that the economy has been recovered from the intensive care to a recovery stage.
Great. Intensive care to now recovery stage. So we're in a recovery stage, right? And,
exactly.
Okay. Elikem, what will be your description so far? Just one sentence before I come in and ask the substantives. In a sentence.
President Mohamed stellar performance in 9 months.
President Mohamed stellar performance in 9 months. Okay. What would it be for you? Just one sentence.
Stability.
Stability.
Yeah.
I see. What about you? One sentence.
Economic prudence.
Economic prudence. All right. But Elikem, would you say all has been rosy? if we have to do a historical recall, what has been the lows for which the highs could be celebrated, so to speak?
I think governance itself, thank you, it's no joke, but it requires decisive leaders and leadership that also knows what to assemble to constitute that government. And I must say that President Mahama, with hindsight and from the experience of having been a former president, sat back for 8 years to witness the rot that you and I were privy to, became best placed as president now to do things right and even improve on those that he felt when he was president the first time he didn't do much on. And so it is coming as no surprise to many of us, except for critics who may not have anything to say, but just that they would need to criticize, to want to still say something against President Mahama and his government. Right from day one, he's been walking the talk, and he's making sure that he's not only delivering on the deliverables or meeting the expectations of Ghanaians, but delivering according to what is contained in the blueprint of the National Democratic Congress campaign booklet, the manifesto. And if you look at January when he assumed office till date, he has been very consistent with what he intends to do. He knows where we are going. Have we gotten there yet? No. But are we on track? Yes. And you'll agree with me further. There are no known challenges now that anybody can mention, as we just discussed. Inflation itself is now in the single digit, which is a very good thing for us. Everybody now will tell that the only thing left for us is to cure this canker of galamsey. And that, coupled with other things contained in the manifesto, which definitely are supposed to be seen through in a 4-year period, one would say that President Mahama is giving a very stellar performance and is making a strong case for himself, not only in Ghana, but even on the international stage. He's become a global icon. I can tell you that there are currently 2 presidents in Africa, Ibrahim Traore of Burkina Faso and President Mahama of Ghana. Yes.
There's always a question about us resting on our laurels or oars each time we get to this point. And again, it's also due to us being under the IMF, because from what we can say by way of the trends, each time the economy has performed very well, we are under an IMF where the conditions are there, and then immediately we exit, we tend to do well until we slide. How, within the corridors of power, what's the mindset, what's the narrative to make sure that we don't go off track?
Raymond, it's not only about IMF.
My name is Roland.
Roland. Roland, it's not only about IMF. It's about the discipline of the leadership. And I must again use this opportunity to commend the finance minister, the governor of the Bank of Ghana, and all others for the diverse roles they are playing in these. Yes, you would always enjoy some laurels, and there's not going to be the need for you to want to rest on your arse just because you feel that, the indicators are looking good, inflation has gotten down to a single digit, the price of petrol has been a bit stable, the dollar to the cedi has been A, B, C, D, and this and that. Consistency is very key. And I must say that for the 9 months now, one can admit that with the current dispensation, this is a government that is not only about listening, but doing the right things that will benefit the majority of Ghanaians. And that's been what the focal point has been ever since the current government assumed office. Yes.
Okay. Dr. Efriye.
Yes, please.
We got to this point after going through a debt restructuring, not only domestically but also externally, going to our external creditors, telling them that, look, we're cap in hand after a period of consistently becoming adamant, failing to admit that we're just not managing ourselves well. Do you think that, well, based on your own positive assessment you've given so far, there could be some lessons that need to be learnt, really, over the last 8 years by way of the management of the economy, for which perhaps it could be a sign of caution for the Mahama-led government, irrespective of how well they've managed this so far over the last couple of months?
Yes, Roland, I think one of the key things that the government of the day need to consider is about our debts. You know, when you have more openings in the financial markets, then you tend to borrow more. And I think that is what the previous government got themselves into, where there was a lot of opportunities for them on the international market to raise funds. So they were able to do it more to finance their projects and other things. But at the end of the day, it builds our debt level, which when the international situation, when things happen on the large scale, that on the international platform that affected us, then is where the debt situation was used. And I think last time, I think it was this week or so, we had former President Nana saying that whether he regretted for the debt management strategy that he used for these pensioners and other people who invested in the economy, using that for the debt exchange, that the debt management system. So I believe that the current government needs to be very cautious as the economy is picking up, as they want to expand the economy through road infrastructure, through these 24-hour economy. As the government tends to spend, then the government needs to be very cautious about their borrowing habits so that they will tend not to create more debt. So when the economy expands, that is where you use your own resources. And I think the current Minister of Finance have been trying to be cautious about the spending situation of the government. And I believe that if he continues like that, we will not be devilled with a lot of debt. And I think we also need to be fiscal discipline is very, very critical in our management of our economy, because where we were in deficit, but now you see that we are having some kind of surpluses and also having some signs of revenue. But I think the revenue base should be improved. When it's improved, then critically we will tend to build ourselves. So the government needs to be disciplined, continue to be disciplined so far, and also need to ensure that our debts, now they have been trying to pay off some of these debts, and they are reducing it as usual. So they need to be very cautious. And I believe that when it continues like this, we will make some differences as well. I think we will come to the ways that the economy is improving through the gold reserves, you know, where the gold, that is our reserves, has been improving. As the same time, the gold board policy, the gold board that came into play is also giving a lot of signs. And that is one of the key areas that is improving the economy. You know, the gold situation in our country has improved and is supporting the exchange, that is the exchange rate. At the same time, also help us in terms of these imports, the import of these goods. And you know, it could have been worse if gold board was not in place for the Mahama government. It could have been worse, even the current exchange rate. It could have been worse but the gold board is able to stabilize the exchange rate in a way, and at the same time affecting our inflationary rate. And that is critical. Some people think that when inflation is going down, but no, that is not the issue. It means that price is increasing, but it's not increasing at the rate previous as it was. And that is what we need to know. And if you're having a single digit of inflation, Roland, I think is a good sign that our economy is getting on track. We just hope and pray. You know, these politicians and our leaders, sometimes when these signs are coming and showing some kind of improvement, then midway we tend to be, excuse me to use the word, on discipline in some of our policies, and then we throw our good deeds over.
And Lapia Dankwa, as you also tend to have an assessment in terms of what the reflection has been so far, by way of the key policy decisions that have been made, which ones would you say have been perhaps well implemented, especially spearheaded by Ato Forson, the finance minister, and the rest of the team, that seem to have created the needed fiscal space, but also the fiscal consolidation, if you net all off?
Yeah, so let me take this opportunity to wish your lovely viewers a good morning. I'm glad to see my brother Elikem Kotoko here. I'm particularly glad because of the position he wields. And maybe I think our conversation will have to veer towards his side because of the huge potential that the Forestry Commission has in building on the stability that the prudent management of His Excellency John Mahama has placed us, and my own friend here, Prof. I think without even being able to explain the specific policies, I think the answers are there for us to see, to appreciate the extent to which government has worked. Because contrary to what some people have made us to believe, in economy you don't get a certain result per chance. Everything is as a result of deliberate policy by.
You said which people said some.
I know when the CD started appreciating against the dollar, there was a huge propaganda by certain members, elements within the new MPP, that they should government should tell us specifically which policies they have implemented to cause the appreciation of the CD. And I'm saying that contrary to that view, in economics, things just don't happen. In a vacuum. A chance. They are always as a result of deliberate policies by government. I think one key policy here has been the fiscal discipline of government. Because when all those noises were being made, you kept on hearing that government isn't spending. And I think decision by government to spend prudently, because salaries are still being paid, so you can tell me that government isn't spending. But it's about government deciding to spend on matters that are important, not recklessly. Because you see, when you take any economy, and for me, when we are discussing any economy, I think the key is to first of all define what an economy is. Then you can appreciate the role government is playing, and then what is needed to create a situation where we can fulfill government's agenda. Because contrary to how Ghanaians tend to look at government, I feel that the metric by which government ought to be measured by, performance ought to be measured by, is not just their manifesto. But the most important metric by which all government's performance ought to be measured by is the agenda of the country. And the agenda of the country has been set in our constitution, chapter 6 of our constitution. And so it's not enough just to measure how government is performing by their own manifesto. You understand? But I think it will be in our interest if we measure their performance by the agenda Ghanaians set, and that agenda can be seen in chapter 6 of our constitution. Also, we ought to understand that all IMF programs do not engender growth per se. The focus of IMF programs is to engender stability. And then once that stability has been done, then there's an onus on government then to deliberately put in place policies that can sustain growth. That first of all will bring about growth and sustain what's called a same. So government has done well. Because I think IMF itself said it, compared to, because we have been IMF for some time now. But the difference between what you are seeing, the evidence of what you are seeing, as compared to in the past, is very clear. As in to get the CD even at where it is now, 12 point something, in the context of where we were, 17. I think that's a huge gain. To bring inflation to single digit within this short time is miraculous. And I think the most important achievement is the reset of the confidence of the people of this country in the economy. Because that was lost. That was at an all-time low during the Ezwa regime. But clearly, I think it was called the international credit placed Ghana at, is it B minus or B?
The current one.
Yeah, as we speak. That's a huge. Now I think now the burden on government right now will be, now how do they deliberately put in place policies that will engender growth and sustain same. I think that's where we've always had what's called issues. We know that now when you take into consideration the fact that the role government plays in economy is in terms of the fiscal, how it spends money and how it generates money. Then the question then becomes, how does government use its power of fiscal policy to engender growth? And I think that's where there are policies like the 24-hour economy, policies like the big push, policies like the Nkoko Nketekete that people want to ridicule. But these are policies that potentially can bring about growth. I know that they have, or I haven't seen it in their manifesto, but I want to add, because my friend here is here, that also the Forestry Commission, the timber industry, is one of the industries that has a real potential to bring about growth and sustain growth. Because when you take timber as against gold, there's a reason why we say timber is what's it called? It's renewable. Gold is not renewable. So if deliberately the institutions that government has put in place to facilitate the timber industry, being the TIDD and the FSD, if we can find a way as a government to oil it enough so that they become very efficient. Understand? The government deliberately builds that sector, then it will be a huge feather in the cap of government. Because there's a reason why His Excellency Johama, when the seed was appreciated, he said that, listen, ideally it will set around 12. Because the exchange rate can be double-edged sword. Yeah. If your foreign exchange becomes so strong, then your export business is also going to suffer. You understand? And if there's one place where we can build on our exports, then it's the timber industry. And the can because after you understand. But I believe that based on the commitment that government has shown, based on the ability of government to get the buy-in of the people of Ghana, because people keep on saying that this government has goodwill, and that goodwill just didn't come by result of this voting, but how they've also managed. So government ought to find a way to use its fiscal policy to engender real growth. Now, what do I expect? What I expect is that government must find a way, first of all, of tackling the SME. Because if there's one thing history has taught us, one of the critical bits of the economy that can create real growth is your small and medium-scale enterprises. In which way can government help them? Government can help them, first of all, by deliberately putting in place institutions that would help structure the level of their corporate governance. Because if they themselves, the internal structures are not strong, they want you to throw money, no matter the money you throw at them, they want to work. Yes, we have examples all over the world. When you go to America, they have what we call the small business agencies. When you come to Ghana, under His Excellency Nanado, Alan Chamantin led what we call the business resource centers, except that for whatever reason, the government didn't see as in the usefulness of that. But His Excellency Johama must find a way of deliberately building the SMEs. Now, when you found a way of giving them institutional support, then you also find a way of giving them the air, because the air that every business needs is capital. That capital can be via equity or debt. So that we have to find a way of also creating more venture capitalists, and also find a way of using the power of monetary policy and fiscal policy to find a way of getting the banks or our intermediary systems to sustain advancement of what's called capital by way of debt to these SMEs. Now, when we're able to do that, then another huge problem that the economy is being dealt with, that is the large size of our informal sector. Because when you have a situation where the informal sector is strong, that means that you have a situation where majority of your businesses are invisible to government. Then one of the critical problems our economy is faced with, that is the inability of Ghana or the government to generate revenue. Because it's a huge issue. We are unable to generate revenue. We are unable to generate revenue because you have about over 80% of your businesses being invisible to the state. You understand? So when you create that, when you institutionalize support to SMEs, then you can use that as a bait, a genuine bait, to get a lot of these informal businesses to be formalized, thus helping government in its ability to generate revenue. You understand? When we do that, and I love it. Atu Forson, as in he's shown over the course of the past 9 months, and I want to be positive. I'm not going to say that I hope he sustains this. I believe he's going to sustain it.
He's going to sustain.
We must ensure that he sustains it. Then, one of the criticism of the SOR regime, that is borrowing to consume, because borrowing per se is not wrong. Because if you understand that all capital is either equity or debt, you understand? Then borrowing can also be a strong means of engendering growth. But it can only be a means of engendering growth if you borrow not to consume, if you borrow to build. So we are at a huge crossroad. I think for the past 9 months, I believe that, first of all, we have leadership. And there are a lot of restorations happening. One of the critical restorations is the restoration of the loss of confidence in the economy. Right now, we have belief in the ability of government to lead us into to fulfill our economic agenda. Let us find a way as a people, obviously led by government, to build on the stability we've gotten. And we can only build on that if government finds a way of using the role it plays in the economy, being fiscal policy, being monetary policy, to engender not just growth, but growth that is sustainable.
If you look at balance of payments and then those type of support, as well as what has enabled the CD to be strong as it is, even at one time Bloomberg saying that it's being one of the topmost, if not the topmost, perhaps well-managed currency in the world, or performing currency in the world. It certainly will mean that you want to fiscally consolidate what you have. Now, we're having this conversation because we're in October. By way of the structure of reading our budgets, we now have to read this budget before we begin the next quarter. So by November, we expect our budget. So this month, we expect the 2026 budget to be read by the Finance Minister, Dr. Kisile Atuforsen. We've always been grappling with the issue about how we are in a position to empower medium to small enterprises, but generally also feeding them into the structure of the tax system that we have. What do you think confronts Kisile Atuforsen in that regard? I'm asking you this question because I know that for all the conversations we've had, you seem to have honed your skills in trying to learn that part as part of your academic, perhaps work or achievement.
So, Roland, that's a good question. And I think that over the years, Ghana has actually not been able to formalize the informal sector. But then before I go on, let me say good morning to Elikem and my own brother, Lawyer Pierre Dankwa. You see, the point still remains that taxes, right, either from formal or informal sector, remains the backbone of Ghana's economy, aside issues regarding exports, from traditional export commodities. And again, the importance of actually developing a Ghanaian structure that can feed into our tax, systems. I believe that at least we need to start from somewhere. So let me start from this, and that Kwesi Botwe did marvelously, with regards to the tax systems. And Professor Mills, when he was vice president, also introduced certain innovations. In recent times, we saw the Kojuba Redu, also doing something good, and then to Nana Akufo-Addo's government. But I think that the gap still remains with regards to how government can motivate the informal sector, which is more than 60% of our economy, to roll them onto the tax system. And so I feel that KCL should be able to, develop a model, that would incentivize, the informal sector. In marketing, we believe this, especially when it comes to models of social marketing. And our belief is that behaviors that are permanent can only, be changed, right? Certain endemic behaviors can be changed when, there is a motivation. And so what it means is that the kinky seller on the streets doesn't want to pay tax, all right? Because the person feels that this is my family job. Why should I pay tax? So the government has not invested into it. Why should I pay tax? Now, I didn't write any application anywhere. Why should I pay tax? But the issue is that when we get this person motivated, encouraged, when we get this person educated in a way that the person will now feel the need that for reason A and B, I need to pay tax, all right, then maybe I can benefit in one way or the other from the payment of tax. I think that at a point in time, you wouldn't even go to the person to go and beg the person or force the person to pay the tax. The person willingly will walk to any GRA office to go and pay. And that is what I feel that we have refused to do for a long time. And we need to probably develop a model that can, help us get it. I think that one of the things that we can do, has to do with tax reliefs and in foreign countries, I think that they have a system there where you can, file for tax, at the end of the year. And I think that it was one of the policies that I heard Dr. Bawumia spoke about during his campaign about tax reliefs and all that.
It was tax amnesty.
Tax amnesty, okay. So I feel that, yes, some of these things can be done. And once you do it and apply it to the informal sector, obviously it creates the platform for people who are not, interested in paying taxes, willingly will go and then do that. Again, I think that lawyers said something about empowering the SMEs, which is a brilliant idea. And I always talk about the fact that, look, I think this morning they were mentioning that Ghana has over, is it 600 or something, millionaires.
2,100 millionaires
in Ghana. 2,100.
Yeah, dollar millionaires.
Dollar millionaires in Ghana. Can you imagine? And we still fund our economy in these states.
You mean billionaires or millions?
Millionaires. Dollar millionaires.
2,100,
yeah. Though we cannot compare, the size to other, economies, right? Like China and the rest. But I think that within our context, the number is very substantial.
Yeah.
If these millionaires will turn their hard-earned currency into, productive ventures in Ghana, okay, such as the manufacturing. I mean, one of the weakest spots in our economy has to do with manufacturing and production, okay? I realize that almost everything that we do has to do with service, right? And so you see that because of the fact that our manufacturing sector is very weak, our exports is very weak, and that issue of balance of payments is becoming a bit difficult for us, to manage, all right? And so if you read the literature, they will tell you that, especially the Bank of Ghana literature and then the Ghana statistical literature, They will talk about the good for oil, policy, which has to some extent stabilized, that kind of balance of payments. But going forward, I think that there should be a deliberate attempt, to strengthen our manufacturing sector. We always talk about COVID-19 and the rest. The economies around the world, whose economy
you mean we're still talking about COVID-19?
No,
I thought that was before.
Before.
Or you are
I
still
said
talking
that
about
we were talking about the word there that I used was where, meaning it is in the past. It's not in the present. Papa Ru.
Just a harmless question.
This one.
Just a harmless question. Because you referred to COVID-19. So.
Yeah, so COVID, we all know that COVID-19.
So immediately you say that, then you add Russia-Ukraine war.
So it is history, right? Now, economies around the world which were resilient and were not so much affected by were economies built on the manufacturing sector. Germany is an example. China, where COVID-19 actually started, didn't suffer so much because of resilience built on manufacturing. Yeah. And that is the direction we need to look at. Okay, that's why I'm saying that if our millionaires, the dollar millionaires, would put or would turn their monies, their dollar, into manufacturing, factories where we can actually, identify some of the natural resources that we have, and we would invest into it. I think that it will be of help to us. Obviously, Roland, let's look at our, exports. Okay, cocoa, beans
are falling.
No, I'm saying that the cocoa beans, we export them.
Yes.
In the raw state, isn't it?
Yes.
What percentage are we able to process? Add value to it, and then probably export. We are not actually doing that. Now, again, when you check the Ghana Statistical Service data, the reports that came out of the data, and which they were talking about the fact that Ghana's GDP is increasing and all that. And one of the contributors has to do with the export sector, and especially value-added products. Okay. Now, that even tells you that when we are able to add value to our cocoa beans, if you're able to add value to our gold, if you're able to add value to our bauxite and all that, we will get more money than, what we are doing. And these are some of the things that can help us, strengthen, our currency, strengthen our cedi, and then, as it were, not to be too dependent or probably gain economic independence from, these Bretton Woods societies and all that. So I think that it may not be immediate, right? It may not be immediate. But I think that this current government can leave that legacy. Start and then probably look at certain areas, especially if they are talking about, the 24-hour economy and all that. Look at the amount of money that we spent, in importing, how do you call it, chicken, rice, to Ghana.
Sugar.
Sugar. And the question, even salt. Salt. The white salt.
The
iodide salt from India.
The normal,
exactly. Yeah. You see, and what can we do to probably develop some of these sectors? I mean, take the Avetime rice, and I hear there's one other one up north.
You mean Aveime?
Aveime, okay, there Aveime, and then there's one up north, something valley. All right, in Asante Achim, Central, there's another, place which, you see rice farmers around. And the question is that how do we invest, produce rice to the level that, we can save more than half of the amount of money that we use in, importing rice into this country, all right, and probably get even buffer to be able to even export, to other countries and make some money. So I think that there are so many opportunities that we can depend on as a country, all right, and probably cut some of these aids that we tend to look for, the budget support that we tend to look for, and all that. More or less, some of these things throws our sovereignty, into the hands of these Bretton Woods societies, to the extent that they now will dictate to you what you have to do with even the loan that they are giving you. And how would we live in a country where, the interest on foreign loans, is what we tend to pay, and then we leave the actual principal money, and we are not able to pay. And debt is actually consuming us. And then at the end of the day, there's one levy or the other, to go to help government to clear its debt. It means simply that over the years, governments are not really paying attention to sectors of the economy where we need. Papa, before I land, let me make this point, and in addition to what Lawyer Pierre Dankwa said, one thing that government should again do has to do with cottage industry, cottage entrepreneurship.
That falls within the SME sector, right?
No, SME, in terms of definition,
they are a bit above,
higher, more far higher. After SMEs, I think there's family businesses, and then exactly, yeah. So I think that if you are able to invest into rural cottage, entrepreneurship, where we can get a lot more people, within our rural areas having some kind of job to do and be making some earnings. Shea butter, in high demand in Japan. Are we taking advantage? But go to up north, and shea butter is a cottage industry. You get it? So if you're able to invest in there and then increase production, package it very well, get the branding intact to meet international standards. Who says you are not making money out of shea butter? What about salt? Salt. Almost every manufacturing deals with salt, including the textile industry deals with salt. And so apart from water, salt is the next biggest resource. And we have salt in abundance in Ghana, just as we have gold in abundance. So how are we able to tap into the production of salt and develop salt to that level where India is making millions out of salt?
Okay. Dr. Samuel Efriye, just this week, or the last week rather, the government announced the 3 billion concessionary is it funding from Japan, the government of Japan, which for Greater Kumasi was going to also help among related other infrastructural projects, especially in roads, do the connectivity, etc. Now, the question then will be, and the president has said it over and over, we're not ready to enter the international capital market yet and go and borrow at non-concessionary rates, all right? So we want to go the path at which we're going. How do we undertake such developments by way of the policy decisions, go borrow at concessionary rates, so that we will use that for key infrastructural development, then to be able to connect the dots for the foundation for which we can then spearhead this growth that we want?
Yes, I think I will agree to Lawyer Apia Dankwa's assertion that if you borrow and you don't consume for consumption, but you put into productive areas of the economy, I think the economists will describe some of these investment in the economy as the multiply effect, where you invest in one area and then you see the ripple effect in other sectors of the economy. So when we talk about these investments in some key roads in Kumasi, and Kumasi is the center of Ghana when it comes to road, when it comes to business, when it comes to a lot of activities in the way Kumasi has been centered. When you are coming from the north, Western, Volta, Accra, you pass through the center of Kumasi. So, and you realize that Kumasi has been choked, or if I should use that word, a lot of traffic because our road network is not as compared to Accra, So they have some ring roads that when you look at the development of Kumasi, you can realize that they have to use some bypass. And that is what this money is trying to go into those areas. And also some centers in Kumasi where those going to Obuasi, those going to Ofenso, going to Tamale. They can't even talk about the Swami interchange, which is the center, So when you borrow, when you use these monies to these key areas, you see that business will go on. People will come in, they will do business in the city, they will send it out, people will pay tax. You see influx of people, human traffic, all these things end up improving the economy in Kumasi. At the same time, for other by the towns around, and that is where road becomes a critical factor in this development. So it is good that if you borrow and you consume, it will end up you maybe paying those loans and not getting where the money that you are going to use to pay. But when you invest in these areas, taxes and other things will be, you earn those monies back so that it can also repay the loan or even invest in other areas. So Kumasi, if they are able to do the inner city roads very well, it will change the face of Kumasi in terms of how business and other road users and other infrastructure development. It will improve a lot, and not only Kumasi. You know that it will also serve other regions, the Western region, especially you have a lot of people coming from Western North and Western region, and also Volta from the North. You see them coming in for that business because Kumasi is a traditional business center, and if these roads are well, at least developed, it will make the city more investor, that is business friendly, hence improve the economy of the country. So Roland is good. And I believe that if the government tends to use the big push is something that will change the pace. Even you can talk about the road between Accra and Kumasi, where the president has earmarked to have an express road and for linking the Kumasi and Accra. This is, the number of people that fly on these routes. That it's not, it's an economy road, if I should say so. So road infrastructure is good, and I believe that we have to build it and build it well. Sometimes they use some of these funds and construct some of these roads and realize that some few months to come, you see these potholes and manholes on our roads. And that is what also, so even though the roads need to be constructed, but at the same time, we need to ensure the quality of it so that if the money that has been invested in this road infrastructure, we can earn it back and not earn it up as the road is being deteriorated as times goes by. So it's good, and I believe that it will help Kumasi, the inner city, and we are happy to have that investment in Kumasi.
So the question then was that, for example, just last week we saw Furiata and the wife on the backpack in the city. Is it Washington or New York or in those things? So you look at that type of economic policy management of borrowing, non-concessionary. You go to the capital market, you borrow very at a rate that is non-concessionary, very high, not prudent. And then what is being done now seems to be the path. Do you think that should be the way we should go? That's a question I asked.
Yes, Roland, if you go into that direction, that is the best way. You see, management of our economy, you see, what people are being placed in these strategic positions of the country to manage. Economy is everything for every country. So you need people who are smart, who are sharp, and also think about the country in terms of our resources, how they manage them. Some people come in to exploit, some people come in to enrich themselves. If you get these people in these positions, they will tend to abuse their power and use it for their own selfish interest. So when you get people who have the country at heart, they will go in for loans or some of these strategic investment with some kind of low risk. Okay. That is what I was saying. Because if you're not careful, and so it talks about the personality, it talks about people that are involved. We can have people that are involved in our economy, but you see them that they will be using the right procedure format, but it will be at the higher cost. And don't forget that we have people who, excuse me to use that word, evil in our economy. What they also want to use that to exploit the situation or the position that have been given to them so that they will tend to abuse their resources. So the way that this the finance minister is going in terms of these concessionary loans is good, because I think the minister of finance is being cautious because of the debt and payment of loans. And don't forget that we have a lot of loans that our predecessors have borrowed that we are paying interest.
Yeah.
Now, yes. So if you're not careful and don't get people who are futuristic and think about the country, they also come in to add up about these loans, their interest, and then maybe, I don't know whether we are going to pay or the generation that need to come will be paying those kind of this loan. So it's a good step that the minister is taking, and I believe that it should go into that direction that he has begun, so that it tends to give a little bit space in the economy. I know that the minister, Atofo will tend to do well. I know those who are close to him that are helping him to drive the economy. Then I believe that the step that he's taking is in the good direction for to avoid some of these debts.
All right. We expect the budget to be read before the close of the month. The next year, what should be the expectation? Because apart from being at the Forestry Commission, you also interface with your own party people because you still hold the executive position at the national level. What's the expectation to drive the expenditure pattern in such a way that it engenders the growth that is needed?
Yeah, the next phase, Roland, is to now further be able to create that space, not only for business, but also for businesses to grow. That will be able to absorb our teeming unemployed youth who feel that the moment the government has taken over, or the moment their party has taken over, instantly they must all be given jobs. Many may appreciate the fact that it pays to still wait. Many also will feel that, no, once my party is in power, I have worked enough and I deserve to be employed somewhere. And you agree with me that unemployment has been a major challenge for governments in the past until date. And Ghana is no exception. However, looking at how things are going and with the prudence with which the finance minister is applying his wisdom in that sector, I am so convinced that when budget is read in November, it is to create space now for a further proper launch of the government agenda. I would say that this first 9 months or first year is just a matter of settling in to properly seal the loopholes, now be well placed and now say that, okay, now I made mention of big push. We tested the ground with 1-2. Let us now roll it out on the full haul. We talked about Nkokon Kete, we talked about Ejumura, we talked about the Mahama Cares, we talked about the National Apprenticeship Program. Let us roll it out. And if you recall, not to do any politics though, but in the past when the previous administration came to power, they felt there was a bit of populism where they quickly went out to roll out the free SHS, which everybody said, look, you need to have major stakeholders engagement so that you will appreciate how to roll this out. It turned out that even people from within the government at the time, like Ken Oforiatta, I think the former President Kufuor's brother, and others, who had issues with how it was rolled out, how they felt certain schools should have been exempted from that, amongst other things. So prudence is very key, discipline is superior. And that is one thing you can attribute to the current regime, the discipline with which things are being done. And like the other panelists said, so when you are in such a position, you would agree with me that I would not have to even say much, because the very panelists you have are also saying the good things that they see, which is testimony of the good things happening to us. So when it comes to what to be expecting of this government, it is better things we should expect. That we maintain the inflation in single digit for a longer time, that the fuel prices will be stable, that the potency of our currency. And Roland, it is not only about whether the dollar or the cedi will become 2 cedis to $1. Even if it is 13 cedis to $1, the stability is what matters, because that makes it predictable for business people to engage in what they are doing. If every Ghanaian today knows that for at least the next 1 year, we can be sure that the dollar to the cedi will remain at 13 cedis, or even 14 or 10, they'll be very okay with that, knowing that they can plan for it. Even when they are going for loans or other credit facilities, they can have a proper appreciation of what to plan for. But where it is very undulating, today it is this, tomorrow it is that, then it becomes very worrying. And sincerely, one cannot take out the fact that the establishment of the gold board has also significantly contributed to all of this. I know we'll be coming to the issue of the cocoa board, but it also tells again that as a country, we need to really look at some of these things. Coffee is another major area, which is, I think, second to gold. And we need to pay critical attention to coffee.
That we need to explore as well. Because
Ghana.
I know they are elsewhere in the Volta as well,
and
the
in
regions.
Central and some, Whole Central and some other places. I know that they're doing well, and the quality, I'm told, also is of international standard.
The Ghana coffee.
The Ghana coffee.
Yes.
Very quality.
So there's a need for us to really look into this. Just as we have come and instituted the gold board, and it's seen significant improvements. I believe that if we begin to even look at coffee and the informal sector, trying to coordinate that very well will mean that. But you see, the bedrock of all these things is education. Exactly. And education does not mean going to the four walls of brick and mortar, but where we are consistent with how we educate people, why you must pay tax, what the purpose is, why you must also abide by the obligations that are put on you by the country or by a constitution, and knowing your rights, among other things. It helps us all in building this country. Look, the fact also is that when people have a peace of mind, that alone allows them to think freely, act right, and be able to go about their duties well. Currently, in the past 9 months, you would agree with me further that the Ghanaian feels a bit safer, feels comforted, and also feels that, well, I can now go out there to do business, knowing that I will not be victimized, I will not be chased after, I don't need to bear a certain name, I don't need to come from a certain tribe, amongst other things that were very prevalent in the previous regime, in the past, which actually were militating against progress in terms of our growth and the economic credentials that need to be.
He mentioning cocoa then also brings in the subject of the new increases that have been made and the debate. I remember increases. No, is it the cocoa? They added 400 Ghana cedis. So because there's a whole debate about when it comes to Human Development Index, the standard of living, the purchasing power, relative to how stable the currency is in relation to its major trading ones, because having effect on what you consume daily. How do we put that into context? That, well, additional money has been added to a bag of cocoa, for example, but at the end of the day also, you need to make sure that while the currency has just depreciated a bit, the stability is needed. And the argument also could be made for the cocoa farmer that the purchasing power is better than it was before. It's a very nuanced conversation.
Well, I have a very different view. I think I said here, and how our whole cocoa industry has been. I feel that the cocoa sector needs to be deregulated.
Deregulated?
It needs to be deregulated.
We no more need a board to.
It needs to
have a central.
To have a system where it's just the state buying the cocoa and the state then gives them their price. So for me, the debate, the conversation isn't even about whether in the past it was they were paying lower rates. Well, I think that's a matter of fact. You understand? We can't have it. It's a matter of fact. Whichever way you all look at it, has been an increment in terms of the nominal value and also in terms of the value itself. There has been an increase. But I think that's, in my view, that's the least of our problems. I think the major issue is the cocoa sector has to be deregulated. We need to have a conversation about it. Because once again, when you define an economy, it's not just about the production of goods and services, but it's also about the consumption of goods and services and the ability and I mean, when you study the aftermath of COVID in the US, a clear evidence was given as to the ability of the power of the people to consume in sustaining economic growth. So it is the interest of the state that its citizens have a consumption power. You understand? Because I know that in this country we like to use the word, don't politicize it, don't politicize, but everything we do is politics. Yeah. We need to understand, we like, don't politicize it. Because see, when you take the words of the father of politics, Aristotle, where he says that what politics is a master science that concerns itself with the good of the state and also with the well-being of the citizens. And these abiding principles ought to govern how we handle all these issues, also including the cocoa what's called issue. For a very long time, I think the government, when I say government here, I'm not talking about the partisan government, the government properly, or the state, let me say that the state has held back the potential of this country by the regulation of the cocoa sector. And I feel that we need to have a serious conversation. I'm not saying that that's my view. It doesn't mean that that's the right view per se, but that's my view, and I'm convinced that that's the right view. That we need a radical discussion about how cocoa is handled here. For a very long time, cocoa has been the bedrock of our economy. And by regulating the cocoa industry, in my view, we've held back the potential of cocoa to transform the economy of this country. Let's deregulate cocoa. And in the conversation of deregulating cocoa, we also need to have a conversation of diversifying our economy. You understand? My brother here spoke about coffee. I agree with him 100% on coffee. You understand? You can support production in these commodities, not necessarily by regulating, by unduly regulating them, by understand, but by also using your fiscal policy to grow to engender growth there. Because when you read the 24-hour economy, there's a huge bit about agric. You understand? There's a huge bit about the commitment of the government to use its power of fiscal policy
for value addition,
exactly, and also in terms of policy. How agric is done. For a very long time, agric sector is subsistence. You understand? For a very long time.
It still is.
Exactly. So government can use the power of policy and also the power of fiscal policy, you understand, to create a business out of agric. And to do that, then we don't need to hold back the brakes. You understand? Let's deregulate cocoa. Let's diversify economy by also deliberately building palm. Singapore and Indonesia, and then we see what's called palm is doing.
Even what they do with coconuts.
Yes. So, for me, fantastic conversation is a matter of fact as to whether their pricing is high or not. It's not something that, for me, if A is A, you can't say anything about it. The fact of the matter is that there has been an increase. There has been an increase not just in terms of the nominal amount, but also in terms of the value because of the appreciation of the cedi as against the dollar. If you're going to convert it into dollar, it's higher than it was, let's say, last year. But having said, for me, that is the smaller problem
of the conversation.
And that big problem is how Galamsey is destroying productivity in the cocoa sector. We need to have those conversations.
Frank conversation.
Yeah, honest conversation, because like I'm saying, for me, when you take politics, sometimes we are too interested in the partisan side of the politics. You understand? There's nothing wrong with politics. Everything is politics. You need to understand that. Yeah. But in this country, we are too interested in the partisan side of the politics. And I'm saying politics the focus of politics ought to be to create a strong state and to create a system where the well-being of the citizens is paramount. And that principle, that abiding principle, those abiding principles espoused by Aristotle, should be how we do politics in this country. So I think On the Iran is 3,400.
3,620.
The fact is that it is higher. There has been an increment, but for me that's the smaller problem. Let's have a conversation about whether or not the time is right to deregulate the cocoa industry.
Okay, Dr. Subuahin, Galamsey is a big issue. The cocoa farmers, the families of the cocoa farmers, the owners of the cocoa lands are making a decision, and it's an economic decision whether to give their lands out to be legally mined. Of course, has a resultant trickle effect on the environment, Galamsey, etc. But it's also at the detriment of the production levels of cocoa, irrespective of how much you're giving them. Is there a conversation we need to have?
Yes, I think I agree with lawyer, perfectly. And you see, the issue is that when you compare the gains from Galamsey into the gains of a cocoa farmer.
On a personal level.
On personal level, one-to-one level. Obviously, I mean, Elike who agree with me that, no politician, your salary will not go anywhere near what the Galamsey will get. Yeah. I mean, teachers and lecturers will be worse. Oh, you understand? Yeah. So what it means is that we cannot compare, the revenue from cocoa to that of Galamsey. And that is why earlier on I was talking about, social marketing issues. And that tells you that, look, on any day, when a farmer is given an offer by a Galamsey, a cocoa farmer, and you look at the amount of money that person will mention, obviously you go for that trade. But you see, that is where the increment, becomes important. Now, when you increase it and the person feels that with this acre of cocoa farm that I have, if I'm able to get X amount of money, every year, and I'm good, I can actually, make certain property, do some investment, look after my children, live a decent and respectable life in society. I think that the person, will be better off than probably going for a Galamsey money. But when it gets to the point that, look, what I'm getting is not enough to even pay, my worst school fees, cater for my children, I'm losing respect in my community. Obviously, a person in his rational senses, will go for that money and begin. I mean, there were tapes to that effect, around BBNE, when somebody boldly faced the cameras and said that for all my 70 years of living on this planet, what Galamsey is giving me is more than. You understand? And so, you see, the issue is very straightforward. And for me, again, look, I would emphasize that for us to get this full benefit from cocoa, we need to develop the cocoa sector. There are a lot of potentials in cocoa. I mean, from the roots to the leaves. CSIR can deal with that research. And I know that they have it because there are certain products that they sell, especially the CSIR at Formasuya, made of cocoa. And when you see it, cocoa butter, I mean, you'll be marveled. You understand? And when we are able to scientifically research into some of these things, and government makes that deliberate effort, to go into it, I think that Ghana will stand to gain. I mean, the recent Ghana statistical data talks about the fact that a lot more dollars were coming out of cocoa product exports, than any other commodity. You understand? So things like cocoa butter, wine extracted from cocoa and all that, we're making gains and supporting our foreign exchange revenue. And so why can't we get into some of these things and probably, give the cocoa farmer more value than just go and sell cocoa beans and probably pride ourselves with the fact that we have increased it by this XY amount and that is it. No, I think that there is something we can do. And again, I agree with lawyer when he says that we should regulate the cocoa sector. Once we do that and other investors come in and they explore other opportunities, it means that even if your cocoa tree is dying, you can sell that cocoa tree just like the palm tree. I mean, when the palm tree is not bearing fruit any longer, that is where we get the applications and the sefufu and stuff from.
Dr. Free. So the president met the CSOs, and we know that the farmers are making a decision whether to continue farming their cocoa or cutting down the trees for galamsey. Quickly, what would you say?
Roland, you know, the president's strategy for handling galamsey will seriously having an effect on the cocoa. The president of Cocoa Producers Association made a statement that from 5 years to 10 years, if galamsey is not handled well, it will affect cocoa production, or it will collapse the cocoa industry. It behoves on us that I agree to what Dr. Tutu and lawyer Pierre is saying, that we need to deregulate. That is why Côte d'Ivoire is having a higher price. Because for them, the government is not supporting them in certain areas of, like as we do in our part, that is in our country. So it makes the government always trying to have a little bit of prices that are lower. Cocoa is having an effect that is smuggling because of price differences amongst ourselves. That is with Côte d'Ivoire. At the same time, the galamsey is also affecting the cocoa industry because Lawyer Tutu was making such assertion that when you look at, you see the cocoa farmer and the galamsey, they all live in one community. And when you see the lifestyle of a galamsey and you see a lifestyle of a cocoa farmer, there's a vast difference. So why not? So you see that in this lifestyle, it will just make the cocoa farmer, if it is not getting the prices that will commensurate of these, that is the farmer. So if we are not careful, price is a motivator.
Yeah.
If you are able to give them higher prices, it will motivate them so that they will not sell their land. And you know, these galamseyers, when they come from your land, the money is ready. So the cocoa farmer will check, you know, for the year, if I will get 100,000, and the cocoa farmer will say that, well, that the galamseyer will say, I'm giving you 300,000, 400,000. The cash is with the man. And you look at the struggle that the cocoa farmer will go through before coming out with the bean, and at the same time, the prices that he will get. So the cocoa board need a reset. At the same time, it's a disgrace to our nation, for our leaders, for our inability to exploit the advantages of cocoa. There are a lot of byproducts from cocoa. The value chain of cocoa has not been used from all these while when Fernando Po brought this to Ghana. And I'm so saddened that if you can equate it with Malaysia, who came for our, what is Abe, right?
Palm.
The palm nut. And look at what they have been using. But all the young there are a lot of things that we can use these days. So, on the more serious note, you realize that we have not made use of cocoa well.
Yeah.
And the value chain, up to now, we cannot boast on as a country to have a manufacturing setup that can produce cocoa. And even we Ghanaians, we have a difficulty of even buying cocoa to enjoy.
All right.
And I believe that the president should help these cocoa farmers in the research.
Yeah.
Research.
So despite the research ongoing, the research also needs to happen in the cocoa sector, you say. Okay, so if you have to rate the government on the management of the economy so far, 0 to 10, what would it be?
0 to 10. Oh, as an examiner, I'll give 7.
7 over 10. All right. And then what about you? 10 over 10.
I will give an 8 for President Mahama, knowing that there's a lot of room for improvement.
Okay. So 7 over 10, 8 over 10. Mm-hmm.
So the previous government 1 over 10, and this one 5 over 10.
Okay. So the previous government 1 over 10. This one is 5 over 10.
5 over 10.
Yeah. So for Galamsey.
No, I'm not rating Galamsey.
No, but there's always a reason.
No, you do the rating and then you give me the
6.
reason why. 6 over 10. Yeah. But because of Galamsey.
Because of Galamsey.
Otherwise, you would have done.
I would have done 8.
Okay. 6 over 10, 5 over 10. And I'm sure Galamsey also comes into you.
No. Because no. Because the reason I'm saying 5 over 10 is because they've started. Okay. It's a marathon.
Yeah.
It's not a sprint.
No, it's talking about first year.
It's too early in the day. Prince Nane Ayok and the rest have seen yours. Prince Nane Ayok says 8 over 10 for the economy. And Prince Nane Ayok, wishing you all the best for the day. And this one is coming from Frank Ramsey Latte, who says that we need to grow 90% of what we eat, and then the agro businesses will naturally grow. He also continues that currently it is with these challenges, Galamsey becomes more attractive, and so we need to make sure that we nip it in the bud. And I also asked that same question online about the rating on a stream of the management of the economy so far, and a couple of people said Mani claimed 9 over 10. Hey, Mani. Manuel Dixon says 8 over 10, and I have 7 from Desiree Marvin, and then of course so we have others. Samuel Kate says 7 over 10 as well. Thank you all for your messages. Thank you also.
You never got me to talk
on the cocoa. Oh, because of the time. Because of the time.
Well, I just wish to stress that the government is doing its best, and secondly, what the increment could have been better, but for the fact that the previous regime had actually sold or taken money for 330,000, which was at the price of 2,600, that it never delivered. And so the current dispensation has to try to meet that at such price that was given. And I must commend Dr. Randy Abe and his team for what they are doing so far. And you see, we and them are all related, as many have also said. The Galamsey menace is one that we cannot run away from. But this government is taking steps to make sure that we confront this head on. If I can just take a minute to do this quickly. In the past, there was issuance of licenses at the time that there was a ban. And at the same time, that was one of the times when our gold export went to its highest. It tells you that work wasn't going on well. So President Mahama, upon assumption of office, made it clear from the first day that, look, we shall not issue any new licenses. This is to allow him to assess properly. Then further, the 9 red zones that were identified as the forest zones that were taken over by these criminals were repossessed by government. The sector minister has also kicked in motion a letter to the Attorney General to repeal the LI 2462. The Attorney General made us know on Friday that on 14th of October, when Parliament resumes, that will be one of the first documents to be put before the House. Then also is a declaration of our water bodies and forest zones as security zones. What it means is that you have no business getting closer to any of these places. You must have good enough reason. And without that, so this tells we're doing very well in terms of fighting this. And the last icing on the cake is the introduction of the NIMOS, National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations Secretariat, headed by Colonel Dominic Boa. This time round, the men will be deployed to these places and stationed there permanently, but on rotational basis in order to combat this, to deter, halt, arrest, and also discourage people people who are engaged in this. The RCOMS DEP, which is aimed at finding alternative livelihoods, the media is playing a critical role. Our chiefs and traditional authorities also matter so much. But we need to bring all of this, and on top of it is education, which is advocacy, in order to get people to understand that the alternative may not give you the money that you are making over here, but the gains and benefits from it is that you have your clean health, you have a sound mind, you have a good environment, etc. And that is very key for us to make mention of.
Well, thank you very much, Elikem Kotoko there, and then lawyer Pia Dankwa also passing through the studios, and then Dr. Bernard Tutubuahi as well. But we also have to say we're grateful all of you joining us this morning. A couple of messages also already coming through. But please, if you want to look smart and fashionable, visit Ine Woodin Boutique nationwide, and you have to do that today because Woodin is offering an amazing collection of authentic African fabrics, all ready to wear, all coming in beautiful designs and colors for both men and women. Now with Woodin, you can get creative and you can also remain versatile with your design. So be confident and also show off how truly African you are in Woodin. So go to any Woodin boutique near you today. You also, when you get there, get to choose from their variety of trendy products, all to complement your unique style. Follow them across social media. Go search for Woodin Fashion. All right, we're taking a break. We'll be right back.